Hey you guys, welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to show you guys how I made
3 different projects. The first is going to be a pumpkin bread, if that's a thing. The second project is going to be pumpkin spice cakes. And the last one is going to be pumpkin spice cupcakes. So I started off by getting one of these ceramic dishes you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I ended up getting a pool noodle. The color doesn't really matter because you're not going to be able to see it. So I cut it down to basically fit in the inside of it, and then I cut it down a couple more times because I want it to fit in there more so like bread and not like a circle, if that makes sense. And so I pretty much just cut some down. I needed a little bit more, so I cut another piece down, and I basically started to just put them in there to where it fit until I got enough in there to where I was happy. And so once I did that, then I went ahead and grabbed some hot glue, and then I started gluing it inside just so that it stays exactly how I want it. And while I'm doing that, I do want to take a moment and thank you so much for checking out my video. You can be watching anybody's video, but you're watching mine. I'm so appreciative for that. If you're not already subscribed and you like fake bakes and cool DIYs, please subscribe to my channel. I'm a new YouTuber, so I'd appreciate you checking me out on a regular. Definitely comment which one of these projects is your favorite. I think my favorite is the very first one. I hadn't seen anybody else do like a banana bread or a pumpkin bread, so I felt really good that it came out as well as it did. And definitely don't forget to hit that like button, and if I have a hype button, definitely hit that hype button as well. And as you can see, I'm just kind of playing around with it until I get it exactly how I want it. So the next thing I ended up doing is taking some Modelite, which is air dry clay. You can get it from Walmart, I believe. And I'm going to add it to the top of the pool noodles to cover it, and that will be what I end up painting to give it the bread color. So right now I'm just kind of playing with it. You want to kind of get it warmed up before using it, mainly because it helps with your air dry clay not cracking as it dries. Although I am making bread, it doesn't really matter if it cracks, but I'm so used to doing it, I went ahead and did it. Now I'm just kind of smoothing it out, and I apologize that it is off screen. I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm just adding it to the ceramic dish and covering the pool noodle in its entirety. I do not want to be able to see the orange, and it actually covered it really, really well. So now I'm taking a couple of different tools, and they're just like basically tools that you use when you're doing stuff with air dry clay. So you can always Google that, look on Amazon and stuff like that. So I'm using a couple of different tools, and the purpose of it is just to give the clay texture, because you know, bread is not smooth or anything like that. It has a ton of texture in it, even cracks as well. But I'm just using a couple of different tools that I got, and just kind of putting a little bit of texture on there. I'm going to use, I don't even know what that is, like this metal prickly thing. It's like a lot of little holes in it. Once I finish using that, then I'm going to use an actual toothbrush, and then that's when I'm going to paint it. And when it comes to air dry clay, you either want to paint it before you put it on something, or you want to paint it after it dries. And so with this particular project, I'm going to, once I finish putting texture all over, you know, this clay, I'm going to let it sit overnight, maybe a night or two, let it dry. And then after that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some color to it. And so this is when I came back to add some color. I'm using some orange paint that you can get from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to use some, I want to say that's Territorial Beige. That's from Apple Barrel. You can get that from Walmart or even on Amazon. And all I'm going to do is just go ahead and paint the air dry clay. And for the record, this is the first coat of paint, basically paint or whatever it is I'm going to put on it to add color. This is just the very first coat. I'm going to do multiple coats of, I want to say paint and something called coffee grunge, which I will explain a little later. And so once I finish painting, then I'm going to let that dry as well. The next thing I did is I grabbed something I call coffee grunge. I actually learned this from a different creator. You can find her on YouTube. It's called My Sweet Home Living. And she actually came up with this coffee grunge. And the coffee grunge is basically just some warm water, some coffee grounds or powder. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know what it's called. As well as some cinnamon. I think that's it, but you can always look on her channel and get her recipe. And I just added that to it. And I did about 2 or 3 coats of that. I let it dry and then added some more and let it dry. Once it dried that last time, I just added this really cute little bow to it. And that was it. And this came out so nice. I absolutely love this so much. So pretty. So the next project is going to be me making a pumpkin spice cake. I started off by using some sponges from the Dollar Tree, as well as some burnt umber apple barrel paint and some territorial beige apple barrel paint. Both you can get from Walmart. And I ended up just adding whatever I needed. If I needed a little bit more territorial beige, I added that. If I needed a little bit more burnt umber, I added that. I used a little bit of sunny yellow as well. And I want to say I also used maybe a little bit of orange later on. But my whole purpose, yep, I used some orange from Dollar Tree. And the purpose was I was just trying to get like a really good color that I saw. There is a color on, I want to say somewhere on Google that I saw this pumpkin spice cake, and I was just trying to get that color, and I just was adding, a couple of different colors just to get the correct thing. And then I add a little bit of Mod Podge just so that it would stick better to the sponge. And yeah, so I ended up cutting the sponges in half because they didn't need to be that big, and I wanted to make 2 cakes. And each cake, well, two cakes, but each cake had 2 stacks of cakes on it, if that makes sense. Anyways, I went ahead and painted all the sides of all the sponges with that paint concoction that I did, just to get, obviously so that it's not green anymore. I wanted that color of pumpkin spice cake. So after that, it was time for the icing on the cake. So I ended up taking some lightweight spackle by DAP and putting it into this container. And then I'm going to add a couple more colors to it. I know I used that territorial beige to get the color that I wanted. And I also use this parchment color that you can also get from Apple Barrel as well to get the color of the icing that I wanted. And I just used a popsicle stick to basically spread that on top of the cake. So I put it in the middle so that it was the icing that was sticking it together. Like, I put it on top of all of them because, like I said, 2 of them were going to be on the bottom. So it was like a double cake or whatever. And that would allow, you know, of course, it to stick together. And then I'm going to put some on top of both of them as well. And you don't have to use a popsicle stick if you have something that's, you know, more so for cakes. That will work too. If I was doing this again, I probably would use something like that. I actually got a tool like that from Dollar Tree as well. But at the time, all I had was a popsicle stick, and it definitely worked out really well. And of course, I added cinnamon to it because it was cinnamon spice. And I ended up getting some cinnamon sticks off of Amazon. And I just used whole cinnamon sticks. I was going to cut them in half, but I just used 2 whole ones and kind of made like an X. And it came out great. Now, the very last one I'm doing is going to be the cinnamon spice cupcakes. Again, you can see I'm using pool noodles. I cut it down to fit inside of the cake pan or the cupcake pan, as well as the cupcake liners. And when I got it, like, I cut it the right size, I just use that as my model to cut down enough. And so I want to say I count down 6. I made about 6 of these little cupcakes. And you can tell you can use one pool noodle from Dollar Tree, Family Dollars, wherever, on multiple projects, which is really cost effective. And so at this point, all I'm doing is I'm going to glue the pool noodle to the inside of the cupcake liner, and then I'm gluing the cupcake liner to the pool noodle so that it's not flaring out, because you don't want to be able to see the pool noodle at the end. And the best way to do that is to just hot glue it to where they're, you know, adhering to each other, or, you know, whatever. So I'm just basically doing that with all 6 of them, but I'm not going to show you me doing all the 6 of them. I'm just going to show you when I did 2 of them. And yeah, definitely use some type of finger guards because the hot glue is hot. So yeah. And so I basically ended up using the same color that I used for, I want to say this was for the pumpkin bread. That is what I ended up painting the, I guess it's supposed to be the cake portion of the cupcake, the pool noodle obviously, but that's what I ended up painting that to give it that color underneath. You only really need to do 1 coat. It's not really that big of a deal that it's completely, like, that orange is completely covered, because we are going to make or probably use that same icing that we used on the cake, and we're just going to put that on there as well. I ended up taking little bits of the pool noodle and pushing it in the middle of the cupcake pool noodles, and that was just so that when I put the spackle on there, I didn't want it to, like, fall through, if that makes sense. So I just did that. And so now we're making the icing, and again, I used the same, you know, spackle from last time. I added some orange, I added some of that parchment color, mixed it together, and just kind of went back and forth until I got the color that I wanted. I wanted to be a little more orange, since it was like more, you know, pumpkin spice. And I just added a little bit of, you know, whatever to get the color that I felt like was the best. Because I added so much paint, I ended up adding some flour to it so that it doesn't become too runny, if that makes any sense. And then I put it in a piping bag. I use a piping tip as well. And then I'm just going to pipe it onto my cupcakes. And once you learn how to pipe, it's actually really, really easy and very fun and very, very satisfying. So I'm just going to do that same thing to all 6 of my cupcakes, and then I'm going to add a little bit of embellishments to it, and that will be it. So to 3 of my cupcakes, I'm going to be adding glitter. I'm sorry, not glitter, sprinkles. So it's probably just like some red, brown, and white, maybe yellow sprinkles to kind of go with that fall color. And then on the other 3, I'm just going to add some cinnamon. And I'm going to add a lot of cinnamon to those 3. So it's either going to have sprinkles on them or they're going to have a ton of cinnamon. And then I went ahead and took those same cinnamon sticks that I got off of Amazon. I'm going to cut those in half actually because they're too long to go in there and it won't go through the pool noodle, obviously. So I'm going to end up cutting those down, basically cutting them in half once I finish putting all the, the sprinkles on. But I'm going to end up cutting down, I want to say 3 cinnamon sticks, and then I'm going to stick the cinnamon sticks into each of the cupcakes. And they came out so nice. They honestly look good enough to eat, and yeah, absolutely love it. This is literally just like a drip, like a caramel drip that I decided to go ahead and put on the ones that I only put cinnamon on to give it a little bit of extra, just something. And this was just like the territorial beige mixed with probably a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, and then some Mod Podge, and I just put it on there. And this is the end result of the cake as well as the cupcakes. And then I'm going to also show you the pumpkin bread, and they all came out so yummy. So yeah, let me know which one is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.